Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this video. If you're watching this video, probably fall into the category of being stuck. Now, I've been there for a while in the past, in this feeling you're not progressing, you don't know how to get to the next level. And if you're at 100K a month, you're in that realm, you're under 200, you're at 80K a month, this video is going to show you exactly how to get to 250K all the way up to 500K a month, because it isn't as complicated as you might think it is. The issue is we don't know what we don't know. And if you don't know what to do next, you're going to be stuck. And you probably feel like this. You feel like pulling your hair out. You feel like you're doing a lot of work. You might just be doing that, actually. You might be showing up every day and putting in a lot of work, but you're still stuck. Things are not moving. So let's get you to that point. If you're not doing more money, if you're not even at 200K in 30 days, you haven't applied anything you learned in this video. It took a lot of time to really put this together. So let's dive right into this, guys. So if you're at 100K a month, there are a couple things I want you guys to know. And in this video, we're going to cover three main things. We're going to be going over sales, your operations, and marketing. These are the three sections we're going to cover to really get you out of this stuck phase. Okay, so let's dive into something before we move forward, and it's mindset. This is something you need to fully understand and treat this business just like any other business. You can't do info, you can't sell education, alternative education, if you treat this like it's not a real business. You're just posting to post, you see a couple deals come in, you're making good money for lifestyle, but you're not treating it like a real business. And you're going to feel that way too in the way you operate day to day. If you need to post content, you might not take it that serious. But this is the main thing you need to understand. The only way you get to the next level is by treating this like a real, genuine business. You actually have your departments. You actually have processes. You have real systems. It's not like, hey, I'm just posting these videos and I have some random salesperson I talk to once a month closing these deals. No, this is a real freaking business. If you want to get to 500K a month, that's a $6 million a year business. 100K a month, that's 1.2 million a year. With info nowadays, that's pretty easy. So before we move forward, understand you need to rewire your mind and start treating this like a real, genuine business. Ever since I started doing that, I mean, things genuinely changed. Like, this is a real business. We are doing things big companies do. You got to treat it like that. That's the first mindset unlock you need to have before you dive into getting to the next level. All right. So there's that. Now, we're going to go right into sales. So we're going to attack each problem one at a time. So we're going to go top of funnel down. So we're going to start with sales, and we're going to talk about lead gen. If you're stuck at a certain amount per month, let's start from the top down. Do you have the leads to actually scale? Now, what do I have here? I have an actual diagram, like a circle. And this is the engine that needs to always be running in your business. For us, it's one webinar a week. We run this every single week. We know we're going to get a certain amount of leads back every single week. If you don't have a reliable lead generation engine, you're going to be stuck. If you're relying on content to go viral, if you don't have an actual process, you've recorded ads here and there, it's not going to work. This needs to run like a well-oiled system. Every single week you got your leads coming in. It's a I do this, I get that back kind of system. So if you don't have that right now, get started on that. For us, again, it's one webinar a week. We run ads to a webinar, 25 to 50K a Webby, and we get our leads from there. The team has to use. So the first thing you need to solve is your lead generation. If you have that down pat, cool. You are good to go. Okay, so first is lead gen. Now let's go into the next part of this. Recruitment. If you have the leads, what is next? You need someone to actually close those leads out. Now, when it comes to recruitment, probably in two sections. You either have good talent or you have the wrong talent. Right now, what do I mean by this? You have good talent, you can't find more of them. You're stuck. You have like one good closer, one good setter. You don't know where to find more. They get the job done, so you're chill. You're fine with that. Or you have the wrong talent that's like mediocre. It's holding your team back. Maybe you have a lot of them and they're not in the place they should be. So, to add to this, there's another part of this that you need to understand. Okay? And that's alignment in your hires. A lot of the times, founders are going to want the quote-unquote best closer. Look, your offer is doing 80 to 100K a month. You're not going to be able to get a 20K per month closer. But you will be able to get the closer who's at 5 to 10K a month. Now, I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool here. And it's this diagram right here. And this is the hiring alignment chart. If you're doing 100K a month right now, and this is where you're at the very bottom, right here, and you want to get to 300K a month, think about the closer that you're looking for. Let me show you guys. If the closer you want is doing 20K a month, and you're bringing them to this offer, and you're lying to them, you're not actually giving them the real information, and you're trying to have them start here, if you look at the dotted line, that's not in alignment with your offer. It's not in alignment at all. The 20K a month closer, even if you lie to them, you try to get them in through the door, you get them here, their standards are so high, they're up here. When they come into your business, they're not going to stay. What you're going to do is you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hire someone who's just going to leave in 2 weeks. That's not going to be good. What you need to do, though, is you need to get the person who's on the journey to get to where you want to go. The 5 to 10K a month closer wants to make 20K a month. Sell them on the vision that you're going to get there and you guys are going to build together. This way, everything's in alignment. This person is learning new things as you're learning new things. They're making more money too. The 20K a month closer, they come into your business and they see that shit sucks. There's not enough leads, systems suck, ops suck. They're going to leave. But the person who's doing 5 to 10K a month, that's okay with them because they're slowly earning more, you're learning, and it's a win-win for both. So you need someone who actually has that difference on where you're trying to go. So alignment in hiring is super, super important. So let's go back to this part of recruitment here. And this is where sometimes people get stuck. So you're going to have good talent who are genuinely good, but you don't know where to find enough of them. And then you have talent who sucks. Either way, you need to have this recruiting engine running so you can solve both problems. Now, you might also find yourself stuck in this cycle. And I want to highlight something. Recruiting never, ever stops. Now, this is one of the biggest mistakes we made back in the days. We would stop recruiting once we found the people we needed. So this means type forms were down, posts were down. We had the right person. 3 weeks later, that person's gone. Well, now we got to get posts up. Now we got to interview again. And that's just going to set you back so far. So look at this diagram right here. We got 0 to 100. Maybe you're in this realm right now. But look what happens. When you're at 100, that person churns. So now what happens? Revenue declines. You go back to doing less than 100K a month. Now you got to rehire. And what happens is people get stuck in that cycle. And it just keeps repeating, and repeating. That's no fun. And then you get stuck. So recruiting can never, ever stop at all costs. So right now what we do is we always recruit. We're always putting posts up. We're always still taking interviews because you never know when you might need more people and you never know when someone might leave. But what you can predict, what you can plan for is having a pipeline of talent. This way, you're never in a bad spot. So make sure that recruiting engine is down pat. All right, and the next thing I want to dive into is pricing and ascension. Are you actually charging high ticket, or are you charging a couple $1,000s, $2,000 to $3,000? That's not high ticket, right? So are you actually charging high ticket, and are you selling to your current buyers? So one of the easiest problems you could solve is your pricing, right? You could charge more. Number two is sell to your current buyers. A lot of people try to go find new customers every single day, which you want to be doing that, but you also want to sell to the people you currently have, right? Now check this out. Now what I want you guys to do is work backwards, right? You might be charging $5,000 right now for something that's actually worth $30,000 because that's what you started doing. $5,000 feels like a lot of money and you feel like you're helping people out. But guys, this is a business. You want to make the most money possible, and that's how life works. So you guys are charging $5,000 for everything you see here. You got the course, you got done for you aspects, done with you aspects, one-to-one aspects. You want to break these down into their own pieces and compartments so you could slowly start moving people through these. So if I were to pay you $500 today, I could still pay you $10,000 if I'd like to in the next 3 months instead of you just charging me $5,000, right? Now, the best example to think of this is, now an example I'm going to use to talk about this is Lamborghini. You need to treat your info business like Lamborghini and car companies as a whole. So obviously Lamborghini, you got Huracan, you got Performante, you got Aventador S, SV, SVJ, then hypercars above it. Right now, what you're doing with your info business is you're charging Huracan prices with an SVJ product. You see how there's misalignment. People will pay more for better experiences, better deliverables, and a better outcome. The issue is you're charging one contained price for everything. You need to break those things down, charge higher for your higher level experiences. You see these with hotels. Better rooms cost more, better amenities cost more, lower suite rooms are cheaper. But again, if you're charging $5,000 for a $30,000 experience, you're going to stay stuck. See what I mean? So you want to make sure you don't fall into that boat. Okay? Now, let's do a quick checkpoint. If you're stuck at $100,000 a month, you got lead gen down now after understanding you need an engine. Number two, you got the right salespeople in place. Number three, you got the recruiting engine in place that's always running at all times. You got your pricing right. Now you could ascend people. Well, you got a bunch of these things down. You got a good piece of the pie down, so you can get out of this $100,000 a month mark where you might be stuck at. All right. Now, the next thing I want to go into is paid ads. You need a predictable engine. If you're at $100,000 a month, I could guarantee you probably still rely heavily on organic. Possibly, maybe you don't. But if you do rely on organic's cool, but it's not something you can predict. You don't know when you're going to get views. You don't know when your video is going to pop off, and you can't predict the quality of people that come in as you are posting different pieces of content. So paid ads, you got to be on paid ads as a predictable engine. You know every week if you spend this much, you get this much back. Spend this much, you get this much back. One of the biggest issues for us when we were first scaling is there was no predictability week over week. Right now, for example, for one of our accounts, we spend $25,000 a week. I know roughly exactly how many leads we get back every week, and it's very predictable, and you could make very educated outcomes and predictions for what's going to happen with upcoming weeks. When you don't have an engine of predictable leads coming through the door, you're going to genuinely stay stuck. Because one week you might crash $50,000 in sales, the next week you're at $20,000. But you posted the same amount of times, but you didn't make the same amount of money. It's not like that with predictable engines like paid ads. So this is very important. You got to be on paid ads. Now we're going to dive into operations next, guys. So this is a very important topic because this is something I personally like almost lost my brain, but I want to ask you, are you the glue that acts as the operations in your business? I really sit down and think, am I this person? Are you the one answering all the questions? Are you the one who's like, hey, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna give you a payment link. Hey, John, I need a 20K payment link. Okay, you're gonna go quickly make that payment link. Step aside from whatever you're doing, send the payment link. Are you the glue that acts as the ops? If you went away tomorrow, if you went away for a week, could your team still run without you? If the answer is no, you are probably the glue in the operational process. So I want to go into the buyback checklist if you are the glue for ops. Now, there's a couple things where your time might be getting sucked. Number one, onboarding for your sales reps. This is a very overlooked and not even a talked about topic in this space. I remember one of our sales managers once was telling me like, hey, like my time's getting taken up. And I'm like, okay, well, is it your one-to-ones? Is it your trainings? He's like, no, it's onboarding. And I quickly realized we had the same onboarding process we had a year ago. Things weren't updated. It was the same system. And that's outdated. You'd be surprised how much time you can buy back by creating a very, very beautiful, in-depth, answer all your questions, prepare your closers and setters onboarding process. If you get this down right, your team will step into calls closing at a better close rate. They're going to need less one-to-one support, and they're just going to go in ready to go. Think about it like this. If someone comes in onboarded correctly with the right materials, every question is answered in your onboarding. By the time they're taking calls, they're going to be like operating at a level like this. Versus normally they might be operating at a level like this if your onboarding sucks. Now, when someone starts off on operating at this level and you're the sales manager or you're the offer owner, you're training this person, your life becomes so much more easier because they already know so much things, right? So the first part to really audit is your sales onboarding, okay? The next is your sales processes. I mean, a lot of the times you might be directing these processes. Oh, like, John, like, what should I do? I just booked this call. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? I guarantee you there's a couple things there that you were still kind of directing, manually helping out. You need to, standardize whatever sales process you have and make sure everybody on your team is doing the exact same thing. Number 3, guys, is reporting. So that's data, end-of-day reports. You need to have a very streamlined process around this that actually spits out good data. If you don't have this down pat in your operations and you have the wrong data, the wrong numbers, you have no one actually checking to make sure these are the right numbers, you're going to stay stuck because you don't know what to work on. You don't know what to fix. You don't know what numbers are true. How are you actually going to go in and fix the problems? I think one of the biggest unlocks was getting so good at our data and reporting that we could finally see what was going on. I remember a period of time where reports were not the best. And in my mind, I knew that. So it was like, well, if I know this data is not accurate, the data means nothing. That's another thing. You could be tracking data, having people report, but it could be the wrong data. It could not be audited data. And it won't help you as a whole. Number 4 is tech procedures. You want to document any kind of SOP, any kind of system around this. There's a bunch of issues that come up for tech. You want to make sure your team knows how to solve these things and fix these things. And essentially everything else when it comes to ops, there's going to be a bunch of like small nuanced things that happen. And that's back to the same point that I said at the start of the video. You want to treat this like a real business. And in a real business, they have so many different processes and systems, SOPs for almost anything you could think about. With info, you think just sales and marketing. You don't think about the infrastructure behind it all. Now that's cool once you had it all documented, but now is it UI friendly? Can your team actually navigate these things? Or do you have some ugly Google Doc full of a million words, unorganized, and you're just giving this to your closer, like, hey, get started. And then you're wondering why they're not closing. Well, you gave them a document that is nearly impossible to navigate. Now, you put the ball in your closer's court to get good at this and learn how to navigate it. When you could have just taken time, taken a weekend out, rebuilt your whole closer onboarding to make it so easy for the closer to learn everything that by the time they're on your Monday one-to-one meet, they got no questions to ask you because they already know everything, right? So it's one thing to document your trainings and SOPs. The other part is making sure it's digestible and easy to use for your team. So follow this buyback checklist. And buyback, I mean like buy back your time. You want to make sure your sales onboarding is good. Your sales processes, SOPs are good. Your reporting is good. Tech procedures are good. And everything else that you could possibly think about needs to be documented. Now, I want you guys to do a daily ops audit in your business. What did I get asked today that can be documented? You got asked a bunch of shit today. Let's be honest. Did you document it? Probably not. So next week, you can get the same question from somebody else in your team and you're going to answer it. And that is something that will keep you stuck. Because one day you're going to look up, you're going to see 10 people in your team, and you're going to realize, shit, well, I got to answer all these people all day now. I don't have time to actually fix these systems and SOPs. So now I'm the glue again in the operations. The next thing I want you to do for the audit is what got asked to me again, even if it's already documented. Now, I'm a killer for this one because if someone asks a question that we have documented, number one, either, like I talked about, it is not UI friendly and your team cannot seem to navigate your systems on SOPs. We actually ditched Notion for a new platform because Notion became so messy because of this. Or you're going to answer this question even though there's an SOP for it, and then you're going to build a bad habit with your team. And then the next time they're going to come to you and again, and you're going to get stuck as the ops and glue. So what got asked to me, even if it's already documented, ask your team member, hey, this is documented. Like, did you have trouble finding it? Did you not know where it is? Figure that out. Maybe they knew where it is and like, hey, like I usually just come to you. Next time I'll do that. Cool. Hey, I didn't really know where it is. I couldn't find it, so I asked you. Then that helps you understand that, cool, like your SOPs are not the most user-friendly. You need to document them correctly so it is very friendly. So that's your daily ops audit. I use this to this day. This is very important because as you slowly start scaling, these are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, everything you do right now is manageable until it's unmanageable. And I really want you to understand that. And that's back to the ops, back to the onboarding, all these things. At 100K a month, a lot of these things are manageable because you can do them. The thing is that you don't see once you're at 250, 300, 400 a month, your team doubles, your team triples. You bring on people overseas. You do all these things. And what was manageable 3-4 months ago with that small team is unmanageable now because there's way more people asking the exact same things. So you need to make sure your ops are in check because everything that is manageable right now that you're choosing to ignore will become unmanageable in due time. Okay? So the last thing I want to dive into for you guys is data and metrics. This is a very important one. What is being tracked? What is actually being tracked? Are you just tracking, hey, like, setters, did you all do 150 dials today? Cool. Awesome. And then you're like, okay, they did their work. Well, do you know how many people picked up? Do you know how many conversations they had? Do you know their book rate with the conversations they did have? Or are you just tracking this random singular metric that's not giving you the full picture? The second thing for data is a source of truth. Now, this is a huge, huge unlock. If you're taking reporting from your team and they said they did 150 dials today, and you're taking that as a source of truth, well, the source of truth will come from the dialing software. It'll say that they actually make 150 dials. The thing is, you need to have a verification process, or you just need to pull the data directly from the source of truth so you know you have the right data. Now, it's a very scary place to be because let's say you have 2 months of data that your setter has been submitting, and you're going off of that data. And maybe the setter doesn't even know how to check their dials, and they've just been submitting some random numbers. Well, now you're making decisions based off those numbers, and then you wonder why you're stuck at 100K a month. You're stuck because you don't have the right data, once again, to be able to make the right decisions. Okay? Dashboards are very important. You want to have the right dashboards. I won't dive too deep into this. You could get these made online. And the last point I want to go over is, are you tracking what actually matters? Again, this is something I just talked about. It's easy to track a bunch of things. Closers, what's your close rate? I mean, these single metrics are cool, but is it actually what's going to help you? You need to really ask yourself that. Tracking what matters is super important. It's just like people talk about for like anything, like content, post content. Are you posting the right content? It's the same thing with tracking. You need to track what actually matters, or else you're just going to feel good about seeing some numbers on a screen that are not going to be able to help you out. So make sure you're actually tracking what matters. Now, as we come to the end of this video, here's the infrastructure checklist. So you got sales, you got ops, you got marketing. With everything you've seen in this video, you got to go in and implement all those things. Boom, boom, boom. These are the three key pillars to get yourself out of this 100K a month phase of being stuck. Okay? Now again, 100K a month is genuinely like 3.3K a day. That's like one deal a day. It is one of these things, and all of these things combined, that is stopping you from getting to, let's say, 300K a month, which is 10K a day. 300K a month is just 100K a month amplified. You're not necessarily doing anything different, but you're entering something called scaling. And usually at 100K a month, there's no scale involved in it. It's very like lean. You might have one closer, you might have two setters, you might be posting your organic content that's getting you 100K a month. As soon as you enter scale, we're talking sales managers, we're talking in-depth SOPs, we're talking multiple people on your team. And that's really what you got to learn, the infrastructure that's going to get you to that point. Now, you can do this on your own, or you can book a call below and work with us to see if our webinars can get you to that process. And worst case, you leave with a free consultation on how you could get your business to that next level. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this valuable, go leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone you might know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.